Yes, 2-5 is here. Sports reports is ordered. Welcome to 2-5 Daily. Do me a favor out there. Like, review, subscribe, share, rate, follow. Do all the free things. Do all the good things. So, as many of you may know, I'm a Florida State Seminole fan. I try not to be biased within my coverage when sports reports is ordered is going on. I try to spread the love around. I try to spread the criticism around. I'm not afraid to criticize my team. I was taught that if just because you love something does not mean that it's immune from criticism. Does not mean that if you do criticize it, that you don't love it. So, as a Florida State Seminole fan, I've been disgusted over the last, I'd say, 9 months now. So, last year, 13-0, right when we hit 11-0, our quarterback, Jordan Travis, got hurt. Gruesome injury, out for the season against North Alabama. Had to go into the swamp without him, with a guy named Brock Glenn at quarterback. And of course, the Gators tried to cheap shot him, but he came back, was able to beat Louisville in the ACC title game, and all was well. Florida State had an undefeated regular season. Florida State was going to be on their way to the playoff, so we thought, until the big bad committee came in and said, we value the SEC champion more, even though they're not undefeated. And then, of course, if we put this SEC champion in, we have to put in the team that beat this SEC champion. And you know what? On the surface, it makes sense. Obviously, as a fan, you're undefeated. What the hell's the point of playing all the games if you're not going to honor it anyway? But you know what? Okay. No Jordan Travis. Can I say that we beat Alabama? No. Can I say that we would have beat Texas? No. I think we would have gave Michigan a game just on style of play, but that's neither here nor there. So you fast forward, and then everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody, we try not to deal with absolutes. A lot of players on the roster decided, I'm hitting the portal. I'm going to the NFL draft. I don't have time to play Georgia. Even though that old school part of me said, if you want to beat a man, you got to beat the man. So go out there, beat Georgia, and prove that you belong. Prove that your undefeated record was not in vain. And I think that people would have gave Florida State somewhat of a pass if they would have played Georgia and, say, lost that game by, let's call it 10 points. Something along the lines of 37-27. I think people would have gave Florida State credit for that. No Jordan Travis. So then, as you peel it back, what happened was 63-3. Come into this season, all off season, Florida State fans chomping at the bit. We got beef with Kirk Herbstreit. We got beef with the team. We got beef with the whole world. And you say, you know what? Jordan Travis is gone, but 2024 is our year. The ACC is still ours. We're still the reigning defending champion. So we come into this season, and even myself trying to, do some prognosticating, I said, you know what? Florida State's going to come out with a chip on their shoulder. They're upset. The committee did us wrong. It's war. It's payback. We're going to go to Ireland and clip the wings off of some bumblebees. But what happened? Anything but that. And then it dawned on me, those players are gone. Jared Verse is gone. Braden Fisk is gone. Renardo Green is gone. Keon Coleman is gone. Johnny Wilson is gone. Trey Benson is gone. So on and so forth. But they said, you know what? You still got a great offensive line. Even though in that game against Georgia Tech, what was that? Half a yard before contact on rushing plays. Second game, you add in the BC game, outrushed in both games combined, 353 to 119. So that has nothing to do with being screwed by the playoff committee. That's just being plain soft, right? And then you look at the head coach, Mike Norvell. Is he under fire? Is his seat hot? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, because anybody that remembers Florida State before he showed up, we looked worse than the Gators look right now. And that's not even shade at my rival. It's just a fact. Willie Taggart took us into the depths of hell. Mike Norvell came in from Memphis, a school that I have been begging to be included by the Power Four conferences for years. As the only head coach in Memphis history with back-to-back 10-win seasons. Oh, I'm sorry, not even back-to-back. Two 10-win seasons, period, as a head coach. So he comes to Florida State. His overall record is 31-19. Now, he's 2-10 coaching games that don't include Jordan Travis. His overall record, as I mentioned, 31-19. So they went 13-1 last year, 0-2 so far this year. You take that away, you got 18-16, the definition of mediocrity, because that's what he took over when he became the Florida State coach. So Florida State still has a way to go, but you know what happened? Florida State decided to cheat the system and say, you know what, we just going to get up in the transfer portal. We're going to go get all these players from around the nation, and it's going to make our team better. And it worked. You know, we went out and got Jarrett Verse. You know, you went out and got Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman. But the problem is that the transfer portal is supposed to be supplementary, not primary. That's where Florida State messed up. You got to focus on the high school kids. It's the same criticism that I've been laying at the feet of one Coach Prime, is that you're trying so hard to get the putty, fix it up real quick to hide the holes when the foundation is just off in the first place. So, you know, what do I need going forward? I need at least a 21-point win against Memphis on the 21st. You know, and Florida State had the wool pulled over a lot of people's eyes. I mean, even the great Nick Saban talked about how Florida State was going to win the ACC, go to the playoff, and make all this noise. So, you know, there used to be this thing, right? The big three, Florida, Florida State, Miami. It's more like the little 3.5 now. Miami, FAU, USF, UCF. So, you know, that's where we are as a state of a program and a state of a state. Still got Clemson at home, so all's not lost. Beat the Tigers, beat little cousin Clemens, and that will go a long way to salvage a season that is already lost. Go down to Miami, which historically Florida State has a better record at Miami than they do playing Miami and Tallahassee. So all is not lost. The ACC title may be vanished, but the season isn't over yet. We've seen crazy things happen before. We saw in 1989, the 0-2 start, finish in the top 5. And I'm not even asking for that. I'm not even advocating for that. I just want the players to look like they want to be there. Is that too much to ask? We went into the transfer portal and got a whole bunch of Alabama leftovers. And that tricked me. And that tricked Coach Saban because he coached those guys. So he felt that Florida State had talent. I felt that Florida State had talent. What I didn't factor in is that our quarterback has more letters in his alphabet than his last name than he has in skill. So Florida State, it's time to get it together. Last season is in the past. It's time to move on. As hard as that may be, it must be done. So then I saw a post on Twitter earlier. And it caught my eye because you know me, I love college football. It's my baby. And I'm all about the rivalry. The rivalry is what makes the game. So as I look through the schedule, as me and Mr. Logical were doing our preview this season, I looked at it and I said, hey, no Bedlam. Now, I know Oklahoma went to the SEC, but they sure had time to play Temple, didn't they? And then when you look at Oklahoma State, they got Arkansas coming in this weekend. Is that not the perfect weekend to play Oklahoma? What am I missing here? In-state rivalry, that's what made college football so popular in the first place, this regional rivalry and battle, not only for the field, but for territory. I mean, hell, next year, I'm probably the only person outside of these two states that care about this rivalry, but next year we finally get Missouri and Kansas. This year we finally get Texas and Texas A&M again. So everybody's out here mad about the transfer portal, mad about NIL. Why are these players getting paid? They don't deserve this money. It's been working fine before. What was working fine before was rivalry. I don't want to live in a world where Florida State doesn't play Miami, where Florida State doesn't play Florida. We're already going too long in between with Florida and Miami matchups as it is. The root of college football is in the rivalry. What made us fall in love with college football was to be able to have 364 days of bragging rights over your buddies, right? Some rivalries just go and they shouldn't be questioned. Now, I know that this is probably more Oklahoma State being jaded that Oklahoma left them behind in the Big 12. But you know what? Revenge is a dish best served cold. The best revenge is success. How about you win the Big 12, make the playoff, and you can snub Oklahoma that way until you mature enough to get each other back on the schedule. I was looking at Morgantown, West Virginia the other day, giving the whole county the day off of school on Friday in preparation because it was the first time Penn State was coming in town in 22 years or 32 years. And that's not even their main rival. They got the backyard brawl next week. But that just goes to show you how much the hate burns, the hate fuels. So Oklahoma State, somebody's got to be the bigger person. And OU, since you want to claim to be the big brother, and I mean, hey, the all-time record says you are the big brother, just figure it out. Us fans should not care more than the universities that are making money off of this sport. Give us what we want. Give us the rivalry. I'm 2-5. This has been 2-5 Daily. I'll see you tomorrow. Like, review, subscribe, share, rate. Do all the free things. Do all the good things.